So, welcome. My name is Rhia Dixon. This is CloudWatch-ing, how to create more useful logs and alerts using AWS. Keep in mind that you can do these things with other types of services. AWS is what I use. My name is Rhia Dixon. I am at the fake Riri because the real Riri was taken. So you can find me at the fake Riri on Twitter and on Instagram, hashtag CloudWatch-ing, that's our talk today, hashtag NDC Minnesota. And by day, I'm a software engineer, back-end software engineer for Veriship. We're a parcel intelligence company, and our biggest goal is to save our customers money on the amount that they spend for shipping stuff. I do every single thing else by night. I'm a mom of a toddler. He is going on 3, but it feels like he's going on like 16 because he has all the attitude. I make jewelry. I tweak my own personal website. All of those things I do by night. And I am the Diversity and Inclusion Director for Kansas City Women in Technology. Fantastic organization. If you come to KC, give us a shout. Previously, I was once upon a time afflicted by overlogging, where I logged everything, and I'm gonna tell you what happened and how we've gotten over that since then. So why should you listen to me about this particular topic? First of all, I have been a software engineer for a little over a year, and in that same amount of time, I've been playing with CloudWatch for almost all of my software engineering career. Visibility was my very first large-scale project that I saw through from beginning to end. With my company. So it has completely reshaped how I code my own things. And I could talk to you about it all day, like all day long. I could tell you all the wonderful things about CloudWatch. So hopefully you feel my energy and you're gonna meet me there, right? Yeah. All right, I can take it. So, story time. Once upon a time, when I first got to Veriship, actually long before I got to Veriship, they had applications that did things. So a part of our process is that we go out for our customers, large-scale shippers, high-volume shippers for the different carriers like UPS, FedEx, and DHL and things. And we log in as our customer and get all of their invoices for them, and we track every single package to make sure that it's not late, it's not damaged, you didn't charge them something ridiculous like Saturday delivery, but you delivered on Friday. And if we find that any of those things are true that have happened to the package, we're requesting money back on behalf of our customer. That was how the things happened. There's different processes that work, and we would go and log in and track the package for 15 days. We did this for 2 carriers. So each carrier had their own downloader. Each carrier has their own thing that transforms data. Each carrier has their own application that pushes data to the database, all of those things. And, life was good, stuff was working, you could see it. I mean, sometimes it broke or whatever, but we could always get over that. Or so we thought. There were so many things that happened. So enter the great carrier debacle of 2018. This is about 2 to 3 months when I started working at Veriship. Everything broke for one of the carriers, like everything. They changed their website, changed their branding, stuff was all labeled differently, and we were down for a whole week where we couldn't go and log in and get invoices and get credits for our customers. And so, that money was missing. The whole company was like, we all know that this isn't working. What's happening here? What we determined in our postmortem, because postmortems are good when you have problems, you should do them. Our postmortem, one of the main causes that we found was that all of those applications I mentioned, we were using them all on different servers, so we would spin up different virtual machines, and each machine was running, an app. So if the downloaders were running, you might have like a FedEx or a UPS downloader, 2 of them running on a machine, but then there's like different copies of this machine, so there may be like 4 instances of this running. And in order to find out what happened, like if an error happened, we were logging errors and everything else, but in order to find out what happened on which machine, you have to go physically remote into each machine. And there's a log file that we were using, it was like a rolling log file, and it rolled over every single evening to the next day. and it was .text. Nobody likes, have you seen .text files? The plain text, just plain text full of logs, nothing but like 30,000 lines. It was like scratch your eyeballs out, horrible, trying to go find errors and figure out when they happened, where they happened. So speaking of those 4 different instances, in order to find out where the error was, we had to log into each one of them, try to figure out where the error was, because the error, it would be cool if you knew that the error happened today or that it happened yesterday, but when you have to start searching back and back and back to figure out what the root error was, this is impossible. It's completely impossible. No one loves that at all. When I say we were doing it all wrong, I meant the who. Nobody was trying to go find these logs. I mean, you know, you'd be assigned a ticket, but it was not an enjoyable job. No one was getting alerted about a threshold of errors being met. We didn't know that stuff was broken until it was broken, and another team came to tell us, hey, we didn't get our stuff from you, because we're like at the beginning of the pipeline. So if our stuff isn't working, no one else's stuff is working. The what we were logging. When I tell you that we were logging everything, we were logging when we logged in, that we clicked this button, that we found this thing, oh wait, we didn't find this thing, but we found this one over here, we're downloading invoices, a lot of minutia. And for your pride, you don't necessarily need all the minutia. We weren't effectively using that at all. So we were just logging it all in one major text file for that day, for that app, on that machine, for like, there's bunches of instances. I'll show them to you. When we were logging things, this was also a bit haphazard because with a rolling log file, you don't necessarily have real-time logs happening unless you're appending every single step as it's happening, but we can do so much so quickly, we did it in batches. And so with batching, you may or may not be able to get your logs in for like 30 minutes before you know whether or not your error happened and where exactly it happened at. The where our logs were being stored, as I told you, different machines. So say, for instance, for FedEx, we had 4 different instances of a downloader. And on those 4 different instances of the downloader, there were log files for those instances, and you had to maneuver through threads because we had multi-threaded instances. Each instance was running anywhere from, I don't know, 2 to 15 threads. And so you had to figure out which thread it was, how to search for it. And whenever we were logging it, it was unformatted. No, every time that you wanted to think, oh, you know what, maybe we should log that so we can see when it happens. No one's logs were structured at all. Why were we doing this? Nobody knows. It just kind of happened, you know, organically. We didn't have a structure, a flow. And the how is all of that. All of that was just a whole hot mess. Look, when I show you this thing and how to centralize logs, you're going to so love this. You're going to so love this. So CloudWatch. CloudWatch came into the picture. Actually, to be honest, CloudWatch was always in the picture because we use EC2 instances and we use Lambda functions, and it came as part of that bundle. Those things automatically are logged into CloudWatch. We just weren't using it effectively. But here's how it changed our things that we were doing. So our previous state, we were logging everything, as I told you. It was completely unformatted, so like dates here, message here. It may or may not include the thread, or you know, the type of message was unstructured. And we couldn't search it. Have you tried searching a text file for words? Did you enjoy it? Not so much. Not when there's like 50,000 lines of text in your text file. So now what we do is we use log levels. We weren't doing that before, and we weren't being particularly strategic about it. So now we have debug log levels, and so for debug, that's when we want to see everything, because as you're stepping through code, yes, I want to know that this thing executed, that this function in the background executed, but that doesn't have to be out in our production logs. We also will use the info level logs for the things that we know have to happen, and we use warnings for the things that, you know, if we see too many of these, this indicates another problem, but it's not stopping the show. And then we have error level logs for, hey, I'm on fire, please help me. And those actually now send out alerts to us on Slack directly. And they also send out an email with a cool little fire emoji, so we know shit's on fire. Formatted, we're formatted now. So now we start off, we have like the timestamp. You can see what machine it happened on, the thread that it was happening on, the user for some of the applications, you can see which user it was, so whether it was actually running as a service out in space, or if it was being run on someone's local computer. Like my computer, it would show you Rhia Dixon. And there's so much more searchable now. Oh my goodness. We have like a little search bar. You can put in, stuff inside of quotes and search. It's amazing. I'm going to show you. The other part of this, the where and the how. This is how this changed for us. So we had our local text file. Text files are the devil. Per app, per machine. And it was batch appended. Told you the problems with batch appending, right? Lag. The lag is ridiculous. So now what we do is we're pushing all of our logs up to the cloud. And they're all in one location. Y'all, they are in one location in groups and streams. We're logging them by app. And so now instead of having to see and go to which machine and log into all those machines, I can pull up the app, and it will pull up every single machine that app was running on and give me all of the logs for that app by group. It's amazing. It has saved so much time. I can't even tell you. And it's a constant push. So everything is constantly pushing to CloudWatch. There may be like a lag depending on, server speed for that day. It might be like 5 minutes tops, but 5 minutes is still way better than 30 minutes in the grand scheme of things. This was us before CloudWatch. Anytime that we had an error, anytime that we had to go and figure out what the heck happened, when it happened, where it happened in the code, no one was watching. We were like, yep, nope, I'm so Jon Snow, my watch has ended, I'm through. This is us now. Do you see this smile? Do you see that smile on her face? That is us. I'm so in love with bug hunting now. It's not a problem. So my favorite things about CloudWatch, my very favorite things about it, first of all, is that it's easy for us to implement it, and it's easy for us to integrate it with other things. So you can, once you push your logs up to CloudWatch, you can use Log4Net if you're a .NET developer, and there's other plugins that work very well with CloudWatch to get you started logging to CloudWatch. But once you're up there, this integrates very well with Slack to send you alerts. It integrates with things like Grafana. Has anybody heard of Grafana for monitoring? Yeah? Okay, so I love Grafana. It lets you pull from various data sources, and you can visualize your metrics. Great for those people that want to look at it that aren't necessarily as into the technical side of it and all of the words. They just want pictures, like, product owners. They might want that. But we like it because it gives us like a health check, we can look at it red, green. Yes, this is good. Oh, that's bad. Oh, why did that happen? Those integrations are so valuable to us. I told you how long we were down, right? We were down for a whole week. FedEx changed something else on their website, but the way that third-party sites work with large customers like the type that FedEx may have, they don't roll it out necessarily all at once. They'll do their beta. And so we can now see like 2 weeks ahead of time when they're starting to work on stuff. We've noticed something has changed, and so now we can put an OR. So if I'm looking for element ID X, I can now look for element ID X, but hey, if you don't see that one, check out Y and see if that one's out there. So that 2 weeks has saved us so much time that when they made that, their final push to do the change, I think we were down for maybe like an hour, 2 hours. It was nothing. It didn't break our system. We were able to be so much more resilient, so much more stable because we had the visibility into the applications. Centralized logging. The reason why this is so important to me is because we can graph the performance of our applications across all of the apps. So not just looking at my FedEx logs, I can look at the ones for UPS, or I could look at DHL, and I would be able to see all of those applications. And the reason why this is so important is because when you're looking at the different root causes for why a thing has happened or why you're needing to fix something, I know that if it's happening for this one carrier application, say it's the FedEx downloader, if it's happening for that, okay, it's happening just on the downloader, I might need to fix it. If it's the FedEx downloader, importer, and remitter, and the database pusher, okay, maybe we have a problem with FedEx. And now we're able to see that. If it's the FedEx downloader and the UPS downloader, then, okay, the problem is a little bit bigger. It's something on our side that we need to fix with like our connection or something. So it's letting us pinpoint where that stuff is. Searchable logs, this is also amazing because I can search by thread, I can search by date, I can search by particular set of words, I can search by user, like if we're passing in user IDs, I can see all of that and search by all of that, and that makes finding our errors that much more effective. And cross-app metrics. So I don't just get to see all of the cross-app logs, but I can graph them across each other. And so I'll show you kind of what that looks like here in just a second. Oh, now's the second. So let me show you how CloudWatch looks and how it works. I'm going to zoom this in a little bit. Is that better at all? Maybe, kind of. Can you see? Yeah. How do I get it bigger? Thank you, that works. Control plus. Wait, Command plus. Is that any better? Okay, great. So this is the CloudWatch console on AWS, and it has all this great stuff happening over here to the side. We're interested in logs. So for the logs, you'll see once this pulls up that Verisham has several of our teams now all logging here to CloudWatch under log groups. My team is invoice consumption. So I can just type that in. I'm searching. These are now all of the apps that my team is responsible for. Do you see all these apps? Can you imagine all these .text files? And for some of these apps, it would be like .text files in 4 different places. Come on, man. I couldn't. Oh, I'm so glad that this is not life anymore. So let's take a look at one of these applications. Let me figure out which one I want us to go see. I've been picking on FedEx, so if I can find that downloader, just a moment. This guy. So these are like just the different streams coming from the different computers. So you can see the different addresses are on there, and these dates are more align with like the last modified time, last event time for these particular machines. And we can come in and search the log group with this lovely big blue button. And I can't see everything, so just a moment. I'm going to shrink it a little bit so I can show you some things. Merp. So there's like more to this search bar, but it's like way over here. Just a moment. Okay, so over here, there's the different time filters that they have that are automatic. You can also customize. I'm going to take it down to a day because plenty of stuff can happen in a day. If it'll let me move back over. Thank y'all for helping me with that Command plus. That definitely helps out much faster now. So searching our log groups for a day, I'm clicking the blue button. It's going to pull up all of these logs for the past day for this particular application across all of the machines. If I was over to the side, you could see all the machine numbers off to the right. And you can now see kind of the formatting for this particular group of logs. We've got our timestamp, we've got an ID, we've got the thread count here inside of the square brackets. There we go, right there inside of the square brackets. Oh, I didn't know I could do that. Info level logs. Oh, there's the machine number. Ha, that's the machine number itself, but not necessarily. Actually, I think that's the AMI image number. And then we have the different types of logs. So I can filter this. It's preferable that you use the double quotes because it makes your search more accurate, just like with Google. And I can pull up all of our error messages that have happened in the past day. It's taking me a moment. My Wi-Fi. Maybe I didn't have any errors. What the what? That's got to be a whole lie. That has to be a whole lie. There's always an error. There we go. I was like, that's got to be a lie. So there's always something. But these haven't necessarily been fire-throwing errors. We have been able to set a threshold for looking at the type of errors that we're getting and the number of errors that we're getting. And so for these errors, for this error log here, there's an error trying to gather these results from this thing. And if I go back to, didn't I pick one day? I could have sworn I picked one day. Just a moment. Here we go. So this right here is showing all of the errors. Here's all the machines with their addresses and stuff. And so now, making this a little bigger again, if you come down and you look, you can see these different errors that are happening here. So I'm going to come back to this page in just a moment because I got to show you why this is so cool. Over here, we have our Grafana dashboard. This is where I was telling you that you can see the pictures and you can pull in the data. So we're using AWS for a lot of stuff. We use SQS for messaging queues. We can pull all of that information in and make our own dashboards. So these are all of our applications graphing their errors. And if you look at this, how this is graphing, you can see that over here to the right a little bit, you can kind of see that this says UPS, UPS, UPS. There's an FTP service, FedEx service, and whatnot. And these are just all of the errors that have been happening over the past, this looks like, what, 24 hours? 12 hours. So this is over the last 12 hours, stuff that has been happening. So if I click on one of these and figure out which one has the errors, it looks like UPS has been doing a number on us. I can pull it, I can filter it out and look just at UPS. We also will graph like how long our message time is taking. And we're looking for particular messages for these errors. So for the error filter, we're looking specifically for the word error. Then for this particular graph here in the middle, I don't know why they shrunk it so much. Command, they shrunk it. So this one, we're looking for certain types of messages. We're looking for, this one is letting us know that a file has been pushed to our queue that eats all the messages. And whether or not we've gotten an unresponsive browser detected. This is for one that we particularly have an issue with for FedEx because for some reason they'll just pop up a blank screen on us and we're like, well, what are we supposed to do with that? But knowing that this has happened, we can now see how it affects our ingestion numbers. And so I love Grafana because you can do this. What we found would have been awesome is that if we could see that our FedEx front end stuff, like all of the downloading, all of the importing, if we could have seen that all of that was going haywire the same time that our audit process that tracks all of the packages was going haywire, we would have found that we were having a super navigation problem on FedEx's website because they had had a drastic change, a change so big that we had to rewrite the whole process. Not something that we could just tweak a little bit. But we would have seen that fire coming like we did the last time that it happened a few months ago. So the amount of time saved just by getting all of your logs in one place, if you have multiple integrated applications, or say for instance you're a consultant and you have several customers across multiple environments, you can get all of those customers logging straight to CloudWatch, and then you can step through them. You can put them in different log groups so that you can see which customer is which, and then you can look at all the stuff that you have going on for that customer without having to go remote in to all of their instances. It's an amazing thing. The other part that I want to show you about CloudWatch and about how we use it is that we use Terraform to spin up all of our filters and to put alarms on our metrics. The main parts of this, we'll look at one first. So this particular Terraform, what you need, the basic thing that you need to do is for the resource up here at the top, it needs to be named that it's an actual metric filter. And then you can just give it a name. We just give ours incremented names because with the type of app that it is. Then this name, pattern, and log group name, this will allow you to look for this particular message within your logs, and CloudWatch will put it into the metrics so that you can graph it. And it'll increment by 1 every time that it sees this particular message. The more descriptive the message is, the more accurate your count is going to be. So instead of us just counting all of the info logs, or that we had a network-related or instance-specific error, we have that part of the message, but that could happen for another reason. And so we put it all in there as our filter pattern. Has to have the quotes on the outside because this JSON is what it looks like. It's a Terraform file, it's built like JSON. Then you can do your metric transformations and increment by 1. And so you want to set it up so that it's as easy for you to navigate through as possible. This log group name, this is how I found that FedEx web building client service that we looked at over in CloudWatch. There is another reason why this is so freaking awesome. So for Grafana, I can come here and look at these errors, at these app errors. Let me back out a little bit. So I can look at these errors for CloudWatch over the past, let me look at it for the past day. What I like about this and Grafana over these last, whoops, that's 7 days. That's too many days, too many days. 24 hours, there we go. I was like, I know I'll find it at some point, right? So if I look at these errors over the past 24 hours, you can see that there's, did we just get, God, just sum it up. Just a moment. I pushed the thing and didn't realize I pushed the thing. So you can see that there's been errors happening. It says around, 1,600. But this is, all of our logs for Grafana are done in local time. So local time for us is Central Standard Time. All of our logs in CloudWatch are done in UTC time. So we have to, do a little bit of math so that we can see where these hours happen. But if this is 1,600, this is about 15-ish. So what is that, about 10 o'clock a.m. is when we should start seeing a spike in errors on our on our CloudWatch dashboard that we just were at. So here, Grafana allows us to see that something happened and what time it happened. We can take back that information back to CloudWatch, go look at the times that things happened. Did I go the wrong way in time? I might have gone the wrong way in time. I need to add 5 hours. Thank you. So adding 5 hours, what is that? That'll be 20. 20 is 8. Okay. Merp. This looks so odd to me. Like my time is a little bit off. Oh, 20. There's errors popping up here around the 20 mark. So all of these errors, this lets us know where to go search at in our logs because it's giving us the timestamp. We can go in here, we can filter down to this timestamp if we do a custom time, and we can get right down to that time to start seeing where errors popped up. Then once you get the error, you can do several things from there. So if I open this error, actually let's not do this one. Let's go with, we have problems navigating. So if I go and now take this unable to log in and navigate to FBO for customer, and I just take that part of that log message, I can go now to my code and do a Control-Shift-Find and find that particular error message. And it's going to take me right to the catch block so that I can scroll up and say, hey, this is what you were supposed to be doing at this point in time, and for some reason you failed. That is major. Our code base is massive, and the fact that you can just take this particular error message at this particular time and figure out what the app was supposed to be doing, that's what has been saving us time. That's what's been helping us fight our bugs and exterminate them, figure out what's going on, and try to come up with the reasons behind it, like narrowing down where to go look. That's been invaluable to us. You can also, at this point, when you find a particular error, if you want to go see what was happening on that machine, you just come over here to the nice little blue button, nice blue highlighted hyperlink, and click on it, and it will take you to the screen for that particular machine so that you can see every thread that was happening on that machine. If you want to narrow it by thread, you can, but you can come through and look and see, okay, well, threads 4 and 6 look like they're fine, but maybe we've got a lot of warnings. This has been, like I said, it's been so helpful. So helpful. Do you have any questions about CloudWatch and Grafana right this second? Anything you want me to show you or Yes. So with our integrations, with the Slack, we can set up like an SNS topic. You can do it with the AWS console, but we use the AWS CLI to initialize our topic. It's all done in our configs, where we can pass the secrets in and things. It's not hard. It is not hard. We were able to go and find someone else that had done it before and implement it seamlessly with that particular, whichever resource it was. I can't even remember the resource. But now everything is slacking and it's emailing to whichever email address that you set up for it. And for the getting it to log to CloudWatch, we use Log4Net, and Log4Net has a great plugin so that you can do a CloudWatch appender is what we use for that. And then Grafana, getting Grafana to work for this is a matter of changing the data source and having the right credentials in order to be able to see it. Anyone else? Did that answer your question? Okay, good. Anybody else? Yes? No? Okay. So there is a console as well for the logs. If I was to click on the filters here, so say for instance, where are we? This is not my group. Just a moment. So I can come in here to one of these lovely applications, and you can increment and add filters to them. So if I have no filters on something, let's go with this guy. I don't know what that is. Oh, some of these are dead. Meh, let's go with 17 filters. So this is what the filters all look like in the UI. So you don't have to use Terraform in order to do it. We just do it because for us it's a little bit easier, a little bit faster for us to just Terraform init, Terraform apply, and ta-da, we've got metrics and we've got filters and we've got alarms. But you can add the filters here, and the way to do that, you can figure out what your test is, your test pattern. So it'll pull up a sample for you, sample data at some point. Let's pick one. Meh. It's supposed to pick like the most recent one and give me some kind of data if it's there. Why are you not there? Just a moment. Let's throw in some random text. So this is our text. You can come up here to the filter pattern and start filtering for whatever you might want to try to find. If I only want to find the word blue, this should be able to return my, there we go, my match. So it found one match. That's one thing that is super awesome. Another thing that is super awesome is that, say for instance, if you are sending this message over and over and over again, then you can pull out numbers and parse numbers to increment your metrics by. So if the count is, I don't know, 30, for whatever reason it is, the way that you end up parsing for the count is that you have to set up your metrics like an array. The 3 ellipses, and I'll show you one where we did this as well, but like these 3 ellipses mean I don't care about whatever the columns are, because essentially these are columns of data at this point. They're all a piece of an array. So I can decide that I want to just name them, and I want to know, well, where did the bird go? So we can call this like the go type, and that's where I'll start. Go type, and then I want the count. We'll call this count type, and we'll call it the actual count. This should be able to pick up everything. It should pick up 30 as the count. It should pick up boom. It should pick up boom, count. Actually, And I'm going to take this out because sometimes that trips us up. And this should work. Just a moment. Oh, it doesn't like something. Oh, ha. Oh, it doesn't like my filter pattern. I don't know why it doesn't like my filter pattern. Give me just a moment. Matter of fact, let me show you one that works. How about that? I've got one that works. So for this particular application, we're using the count, and I must have done something a little bit weird because what we have found is that CloudWatch doesn't like special characters like dashes and colons sometimes. So what we do is say, for instance, for this particular message, we're looking for a particular file type, and we're looking for a particular record type, and we're looking for a particular particular count type. So for this application, we have package level charges and invoice level charges that we're looking for. We only want the one that's coming from the computer itself, this guy, root. So we know that it's coming from the actual computer. We have to account for the spacer in the log and the file type. If it has underscores and things in it, then you're looking for stuff that falls into this category. So if say it's this, FedEx EDI 250, then there was underscore charge record or dash charge record. So instead of looking for the dash, I'm looking for this one joint thing to have both of these words in it. Then the count type, we're looking for that it's an invoice count, that the word invoice is in there, and then the actual count itself. So the count comes up as a value, and you can hit it in the value part of your metrics transformation using $count, and it'll increment by that count. So on our dashboard, this particular application is doing this. Open. What we were looking at is this process. Oh, we're looking at this process right here, this S3HL processed invoice count. And so that count that's being incremented is pulling from these three different sources and graphing them using that incremented count. So instead of the problem that we found, let me tell you about the problem. CloudWatch has a throttle, 90,000 messages per minute. And what we were trying to do, once we tried out parsing the numbers, with this particular process, we were just going to try to count the number of times we saw this message. We had 343,000 packages that we were trying to log this message for. So CloudWatch shut us down, and they're like, yeah, no, that's too many. You look like spam hackers. What are you doing? So this is why we decided to figure out if there was another way and why we started parsing out a count. So instead of us now pushing out a log message for that, we just keep a count of it. And once that count is done, we can increment that count. Every time that count ends up going up, when this process is done, we can say, okay, this invoice had this many packages. This invoice had this many packages. And it's been working beautifully. So these are parts of why I love CloudWatch. Major parts about CloudWatch. This is my dude, DJ Khaled. Do I know him? In my mind, I know him. But the major keys. Log levels matter. Being able to sort your logs and only log the things that you can use for metrics, that's what you want to log. So use your debug logging so that you don't put so much noise out onto CloudWatch. Use info level logging so that you can actually count these things that you know need to happen. So we're counting stuff that if this doesn't happen, or if this number is low, we have a problem. Or if this number is too high, we definitely have a problem. Centralizing your logs matters. Centralizing your logs, oh my gosh, put them all in one place. It would make your developers so much more happy, so much happier. The team will be that much more chipper. Log strategically. So what we were doing when we were logging everything is we definitely weren't strategic about what was being logged, why we were logging it. And you have logs in places that never actually get hit, which is fine, but they'll never be hit. Even if something is wrong, these logs aren't going to for real be hit because this process is something, what's the word that I'm looking for? It's something that's going to happen anyway, so there's no reason in logging it. It's a part of the process. It's not going to break, not that part. So log the parts that matter. The parts that, hey, our house is on fire, we need to know this. Or log those things that, let you know that you're okay. Knowing whether or not you're green or you're red is such a time relief, stress relief. Send alerts to people. Text files, don't send alerts to people. .text files just build up and no one wants to look at them. They are where your developers' hopes and dreams go to die. And metrics. Metrics make a world of difference. When you can start to read the trends in how your app is performing, it alerts you just being able to look at them and knowing that health. Being able to see it graphically and be able to tell your product owner, yeah, man, we're good. Did you see this happen like 4 weeks ago? It's a pattern. But those things, they help to bring about a particular peace of mind for everyone on the team. Use CloudWatch or whatever other logging system service that you want to use. Centralize the logs. This could be you. Bug hunting. This could be you. Thank you so much. Does anybody, if you have any questions, please let me know. The slides are available at rhiadixon.com/cloudwatching. And I'm always open for questions. So whether you want to ask me now, ask me on the Twitter, find me on LinkedIn, I'm on there too. On LinkedIn, I'm Rhia Dixon though, not the fake Riri. But everywhere else, I'm the fake Riri. Come find me, come holler at me. And yeah, any questions? No? Well, thank you for coming.